Today's program is brought to you by OTCStockShark.com. For the latest and greatest OTC and Pink Sheets information, sign up for your account at OTCStockShark.com. Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
In financial news, global economic woes gripped investors, roiling financial markets from Tokyo to Dublin to New York. Worries that started in Asia continued in the U.S. after housing numbers painted a grim picture of the economy. In the U.S., the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropped to its lowest close in 7 weeks. The Dow finished down 133 points, or 1.3%, to 10,040. Its fourth consecutive decline and its ninth losing session in the past 11. The measure fell below 10,000 during the day. Day after day, investors have been hit with more evidence that the economy is stalling. The Dow is down over 4% this month after a strong July that was fueled by impressive earnings results from U.S. companies. The Nasdaq Composite Index fell 1.7% and the S&P 500 slipped 1.5%, led by its materials sector as investors fretted over weak demand in today's economy. In U.S. news, the Great Wall of Lake Bjorn is a monster. Nearly 2 miles long and 26 feet high, it spans a corner of the lake, 12 miles east of New Orleans. On August 29, 2005, that corner funneled Hurricane Katrina's surge into New Orleans, causing some of the city's most violent flooding. Now the corner is being blocked. Nearly 5 years after Katrina and the devastating failures of the levee system, New Orleans is well on its way to getting the protection system Congress ordered. A ring of 350 miles of linked levees, flood walls, gates, and pumps that surrounds the city and should defend it against any kind of flooding that in any given year has a 1% chance of occurring. The scale of nearly $15 billion project, which is not due to be completed until the beginning of next year's hurricane season, brings to mind an earlier age when the nation built huge works like the Brooklyn Bridge, the Hoover Dam, and the interstate highway system. The city's reinforced defenses are already stronger than they were before Katrina, but even after 2011, experts argue that they will still provide less protection than New Orleans needs to avoid serious flooding and massive storms. For a region devastated by a storm and by a loss of faith in the government's ability to safeguard it, the new system is a test of more than the prowess of the Army Corps of Engineers. Some residents say they may never fully get over the failure of the Katrina response. That could be part of the reason that the top of the Lake Bjorn wall is molded like the fortifications of a castle. The indentations will weaken waves that splash against the top, but they will also send a clear visual message to anyone who sees them. There is safety behind this wall. The lessons of Katrina were learned at a tremendous cost in life and property, but they can be seen throughout the works. The Corps is strengthening some soil by mixing cement deep into the ground. In international news, former President Jimmy Carter arrived in Pyongyang, North Korea, on a mission to win the release of an American held prisoner in the north. Analysts in Seoul said Mr. Carter would also try to help break an impasse in relations between the United States and North Korea. Mr. Carter was greeted at the Pyongyang airport by Kim Ki-gwan, a senior North Korean diplomat. Mr. Kim is North Korea's main envoy to the six-nation talks on ending its nuclear weapons program. The talks have been stalled for more than 2 years. South Korea's Yonhap news agency reported earlier that Mr. Carter was traveling with his wife on a private jet. Officially, Washington described his trip as a private humanitarian mission to secure the release of Juan Gomez, an American from Boston who was sentenced in April to 8 years of hard labor and fined $700,000 for illegally entering the North. But Mr. Carter's trip loomed large because of his track record of helping defuse the first Korean nuclear crisis more than 16 years ago in '94. Mr. Carter visited Pyongyang and met with President Kim Jong-sil, the late father of current leader Kim Jong-il. His trip helped restart nuclear talks between Washington and Pyongyang, which led to a disarmament deal later that year. He also brokered a summit meeting between the two Koreas.
If you have a structured settlement or annuity and are not sure if you should sell, then this free structured settlement guide from Client First is for you.
Client First showed me how I could customize my settlement my way.
This free guide shows you how to get a lump sum and keep your payments, get immediate cash in 48 hours, and much, much more.
Now I'm able to buy a home and still keep my payments.
Call the number on the screen today for your free Client First settlement guide. Get a lump sum and keep your payment.
In health news, a federal district court judge blocked President Obama's 2009 executive order that expanded embryonic stem cell research, saying it violated a ban on federal money being used to destroy embryos. The ruling came as a shock to scientists at the National Institutes of Health and at universities across the country, which had viewed the Obama administration's new policy and the grants provided under its settled law. Scientists scrambled to assess the ruling's immediate impact on their work. Dr. George Daly, director of the stem cell transplantation program at the Children's Hospital in Boston, stated, "I have had to tell everyone in my lab that when they feed their cells tomorrow morning, they better use media that has not been funded by the federal government." This ruling means an immediate disruption of dozens of labs doing this work since the Obama administration made its order. Dr. Daly was among those who said that it believed that it meant that the work financed under the new rules had to stop immediately. Others said it meant that the health institutes had to use Bush administration rules for future grants. The judge ruled that the Obama administration's distinction between work that leads to the destruction of embryos and the financing of work using stem cells created through embryonic destruction was meaningless. In his ruling, he referred to embryonic stem cell research as ESC. In other words, the judge ruled that the neat lines that the government had drawn between the process of embryonic destruction and the results of that destruction are not valid. For scientists, the problems with the judge's reasoning is that it may render all scientific work regarding embryonic stem cells illegal, including work allowed under the more restrictive policy adopted by President George W. Bush in 2001. In tech news, Virgin Mobile has just opened the entire U.S. mobile internet market. While other carriers continue to limit data and charge per gigabyte, Virgin has just revealed a new unlimited plan for $40 a month. Revealed on Virgin's Facebook page, the new broadband-to-go plans will be condensed down to just two options from the current four: $10 for 100 megabytes and $40 for unlimited use for a month. The new tariffs are available now. Virgin already has a few unlimited options available, and it's beyond talk plans, but these also include voice and SMS and are aimed more at cell phone users. The new unlimited plans are geared towards users of USB 3G dongles and MiFis. The biggest problem will be the fact that Virgin uses the Sprint network, therefore CDMA and not GSM. This rules out the iPad, although at these prices you might find it a good idea to pair a Wi-Fi only iPad with a MiFi. Still, hold on to this snippet for if and when a Verizon iPad becomes available, which you shall be able to swap to a Virgin if you live in a Sprint coverage area. In green news, it's not news that chewing gum is the scourge of city sidewalks, nor that it takes a lot of money and energy to clean gum off of walkways, shortening the lifespan of the surfaces at the same time. Designer Anna Bullis read the statistics of the gum problem in London, over 30,000 pieces of which end up stuck to Oxford Street alone each day, and she decided that there must be a better way to deal with the problem. So she headed up to the laboratory and came up with a way to transform chewed gum into useful rubber that can be made into anything, from toys to boots. But she's starting out by making chewed gum into discrete but identifiable waste bins for used gum. The Gumdrop Bin by Anna Bullis is potentially a perfect solution to the problem of chewed gum. She cites that over 3.5 billion pieces of gum are discarded every year, too many of which end up on sidewalks. But by posting repositories like the Gumdrop, they can be collected and transformed into something new. The Guardian writes that Bullis spent 8 months working in a lab trying to turn old gum into a new material. From getting it to make a foam, Bullis was able to make a used gum pellet. Then, adding ingredients, she extracted a polymer that she called BRGP. This is the substance that she uses to make the pink bubble bins now dotted around Orpington College, where they're being trialed as gum-specific glitter bins. When the bins are full, both bin and innards are recycled into new BRGP, which in turn become more bins and possibly other products too. There are a few inherent problems, such as keeping the Gumdrop bins empty of anything except gum, when and who collects the gum from the bins, and getting people to use them instead of spitting out their gum wherever they feel like. Getting people to notice and understand what the pink orbs are for is a big part of the challenge. But it becomes a useful service. Then it could save cities millions in cleanup efforts and save citizens hours of cleaning shoes. Speaking of shoes, that's exactly what Bullis hopes to make out of the chewed gum, turned rubber. Bullis says, the amazing thing is you can use it for any plastic product. I'd love to do some Wellington boots, for example. Chewed gum as a substitute for plastics, at least on a small scale, we'll take it. So far, the repositories are popping up around London and even in a Six Flags in New Jersey. We'll watch and see if and how the idea takes off.
Thank you for tuning in to TBC Today. I'm Brandon Vincent.
And I'm Angelina Soriano.
The makeup in today's program is provided by MAC Cosmetics.